Welcome, coin hunters and curious collectors. What if I told you that those old, dirty, rusted steel pennies you've ignored for decades could secretly be worth a small fortune? Yes, I'm talking about those dull gray wheat pennies from 1943 that most people toss aside without a second glance. Well, buckle up, because in this video we're uncovering 5 shocking cases of dirty steel wheat pennies found in everyday change that sold for eye-popping amounts. From minting errors you can barely see to jaw-dropping discoveries made in dusty drawers, these coins may look worthless, but they're hiding secrets that can make you go, wow! If you've ever held on to an old penny that looked like junk, this video might just change your life. So don't blink, because any one of these coins could be sitting in your pocket right now. And before we dive in, don't forget to hit subscribe for more surprising finds and real coin values that collectors dream of. Let's get into it. First up, we have a coin that most people would walk right past, a 1943 steel wheat penny in poor, rusted condition. But don't let that faded shine fool you, because this dirty little coin has one of the most dramatic stories in American coin history, and its value today might just blow your mind. Let's rewind for a second. Back in 1943, during the peak of World War II, copper was desperately needed for ammunition and wartime equipment. So the U.S. Mint made a radical shift. Instead of using copper for pennies, they minted over 1 billion of them using zinc-coated steel. That's right, this steel. These coins were light, silvery, and instantly stood out from every penny before or since. Now here's where it gets interesting. These steel cents had a major problem. They rusted badly, especially if they were exposed to moisture. And the one we're looking at today, it's seen some tough years. Rust creeping over the surface, wheat stalks barely visible, and the D mint mark from Denver almost eaten away by corrosion. But don't toss it just yet, because collectors love this coin, and they'll pay big for specific features, and even in bad shape. One of the biggest reasons is the errors. That the 1943 D has some of the most famous and valuable mint mistakes of the century. First, there's the 1943 D over D, a repunched mint mark that looks like a shadowy D punched over another D. It's subtle, but a trained eye, or even a jeweler's loop, so I guess it's even in rusty condition. If that error is present, the value skyrockets. We're talking $1,500 to $18,000 depending on visibility. But the Holy Grail? A 1943 D struck on a bronze planche by mistake. Less than 10 are known to exist. These rare error coins were struck on leftover copper blanks from 1942. A catastrophic minting error that turned these pennies into 6-figure treasures. One of them sold for over $840,000 at auction. And it didn't even grade mint state. Imagine that. A coin someone might have thrown away for being ugly ended up fetching nearly $1 million. Even without errors, certain collectors specialize in problem coin, those with heavy wear, rust, or unique toning, and they'll pay surprisingly well for pieces that tell a story. A circulated 1943 D steel wheat penny with heavy rust might fetch only $1 to $5 at first glance, but if it has a known error, that jumps into the thousands. And let's not forget, coin roll hunters still dream of finding a rare steel penny in modern change. They're magnetic, they look like dimes, and they vanish in circulation fast. That's what makes discoveries like this so exciting. So next time you find a worn-out, rust-covered penny that looks like scrap metal, pause for a second, because beneath that rusty surface could be a fortune. Moving on to the next coin, and trust me, it only gets more unbelievable from here. Next up is one that looks ordinary at first glance, but don't blink, because this next coin has shocked collectors again and again. It's the 1943 steel wheat penny in circulated condition, and even in this worn-down state, it holds a legacy. And possibly a price tag that will leave you speechless. Picture this, it's 1943, the world is at war, and America is all in. Factories are booming, families are rationing, and every ounce of copper is needed for bullets and wire. That year, the U.S. Mint did something it had never done before. It changed the very fabric of the penny. Instead of copper, it struck billions of 1-cent coins on zinc-coated steel. The result? A penny that didn't look like a penny at all. It shimmered silver, looked more like a dime, and it didn't last long in circulation. The steel would scratch, rust, and wear down faster than copper. ever did. Now, the one we're looking at today, it's definitely seen its share of pockets, glove boxes, and old coffee cans. It's circulated. The luster's gone. The wheat stalks are faint, and Lincoln's profile looks like it's been through the Dust Bowl. But that's exactly why collectors are drawn to it. Because some of these circulated 1943 pennies are hiding secrets. Let's talk about the wild errors that made this coin famous. First, we have the wrong planchet error. Occasionally, a few of these coins were mistakenly struck on leftover copper planchets from 1942. A 1943 penny struck on bronze instead of steel is one of the most valuable coins in American history. One of them sold for $372,000, and that was in circulated condition. There's also the double die obverse, where Lincoln's face and the lettering appear shadowed or doubled. That subtle misprint can boost the coin's value up to $12,000 if spotted, even in less than perfect shape. And then there's the mystery of the silvery ghost. Some steel pennies were struck with thin or uneven zinc coatings, making them darken or discolor oddly over time. These odd-toned coins sometimes fetch $800 to $2,500, depending on how unique their appearance is. Collectors are also after die cracks, clipped planchets, and off-center strikes. A steel penny with just a 5% off-center error can start at $1,000. Get one that's 30% off? Now you're talking five figures. Even in circulated condition, a clean, undamaged 1943 steel penny can bring in $25 to $50 just for being a historic relic. But add any kind of visible error or unique toning, and it jumps fast. You see, this isn't just a penny, it's a time capsule, a wartime oddity. A coin born from necessity, rushed through the mint and tossed into circulation during one of the most intense chapters in U.S. history. And the best part? These are still being found in old jars, estate sales, even inside walls during home renovations. One man discovered one taped to the back of a dresser drawer. It later sold for nearly $18,000 thanks to a simple planchet error. So if you've got a 1943 steel penny, even one that's lost its shine, take a closer look because that dull little coin might just turn into your next big surprise. And up next, the third coin on our list brings a twist, even stranger than steel. Don't blink, it's coming right up. Next up is a haunting survivor from the past, and the 1943's Steel Wheat Penny, faded and stripped of its original shine. The moment you lay eyes on this coin, it tells a story, a ghost of a penny that once gleamed like silver, now dulled by time and circumstance. But here's the shocker. That worn-down look, it might just be the ticket to something incredibly valuable. Let's rewind. The S on this penny tells us it was minted in San Francisco, one of three mints that produced these iconic steel cents during the war effort. Out of the billions minted, about 191 million were struck at the San Francisco Mint. But finding one today in this particular condition, faded with its zinc coating stripped off, is something special. That missing plating isn't just damage. In many cases, it points to a major minting flaw. Some of these 1943 S coins left the mint without proper zinc coating or had it partially applied, leaving the raw steel exposed. Over time, that steel reacts with air and moisture, rusting, darkening, and giving the coin this strange, ghost-like appearance. Some collectors even call them bare bones coins. And trust me, they're highly collectible. Now, if this wear is just from natural damage, it might not push value too high, but, and this is a big one, if that missing plating is due to a planchet error at the mint, then we're talking a whole different game. A verified missing zinc plating error on a 1943 S penny can fetch $2,000 to $8,000, even in this kind of worn state. And if it's paired with other rare features, like a struck-through grease error or lamination flaws, you might see offers hitting $15,000 or more from the right collector. But we're just getting started. There are whispers in the coin world about a handful of 1943 S pennies struck on leftover bronze planches. A wild accident where a copper blank from 1942 was fed into the machine by mistake. Only a few of these exist, but if you're lucky enough to stumble onto one, even in circulated condition, it could sell for a staggering $504,000. That's right, over $500,000 for one dirty little penny. Even without a rare planchet, the 1943 S is still worth watching. San Francisco coins are often better struck than their Philly or Denver cousins, but they're also more likely to show unusual flaws due to stricter wartime production quotas. Look for doubled dies on the date or mint mark, die cracks, or off-center strikes. One collector sold a 1943 S with a minor clipped planchet and light doubling for $9,600 at auction. And it's wild how a coin like this, one that looks almost forgotten, can carry so much value. And you might see it and think, just an old penny. But to the right collector, this faded, nearly colorless coin could be a once-in-a-lifetime find. And keep in mind, these kinds of coins are still being discovered at yard sales, in old drawers, inside World War II memorabilia. Even metal detectorists have found them buried just inches beneath the surface. So if you have a 1943 S Steel Wheat Penny that's lost its plating, don't overlook it. Take a close look. Have it checked by an expert, because under that dull surface might lie a six-figure shock waiting to be uncovered. And now, moving on to our fourth coin, and believe me, this one flips the story upside down. Stay right here. You don't want to miss what's next. Next up is another 1943D Steel Wheat Penny, but this one, folks, is really beat up. We're talking deep rust, heavy pitting, and surface damage that makes you squint to even read the details. At first glance, it might look like it's worth absolutely nothing. But wait till you hear what's hiding beneath that battered exterior. The D mark tells us this coin was minted in Denver. And during 1943, Denver produced around 217 million of these steel cents. That's a big number. But here's the twist. Most of them haven't survived the decades well, and this one is a classic example. The steel core, exposed due to the worn-off zinc coating, has taken a brutal beating from oxygen, moisture, and time itself. But here's where things get truly surprising. See, collectors aren't always chasing the shiniest coin. In fact, coins like this, ugly, rusted, and full of scars, can still spark major interest if they carry the right kind of error. And 1943D has a shocking track record for those. Let's start with one of the most legendary mint errors in U.S. history, the 1943D Bronze Wheat Penny. A few of these coins, which were supposed to be made of steel, were accidentally struck on leftover bronze planches from 1942. Only a few have ever been discovered, and they're practically holy grails in the coin collecting world. One of them, and yes, it had visible wear, sold for $1.7 million. That's no typo. One rusted old penny pulled from a random coin jar turned out to be worth more than a beach house. Now, chances are this particular coin isn't bronze, but that doesn't mean it's worthless. Far from it. The 1943D is also notorious for doubled die obverses, especially on the date and the Liberty inscription. Combine that with a coin struck slightly off-center or showing rim errors, and even in poor condition, you could be holding on to a $5,000 to $15,000 treasure. In fact, one collector found a 1943D with a rim clip and heavy corrosion that still sold for $6,800 at auction, because the error was real and the coin had the right pedigree. That's the power of demand in the numismatic market. Even without wild errors, some collectors hunt for raw condition steel pennies just for how odd they look. If authenticated and encapsulated, even damaged coins can sell for $100 to $300 to the right buyer. Not life-changing, but not bad for something most people would toss aside. Now here's a tip. If you're handling a 1943D steel penny, grab a magnet. These coins should stick right to it thanks to the steel content, but if you find one that doesn't stick, you might be holding a bronze error, and that could take you straight to the six-figure club. So while this rusted old 1943D might look like junk to the untrained eye, it could very well be the most misunderstood jackpot sitting in your change jar. Don't clean it, don't toss it, and for heaven's sake, don't underestimate it. Still not convinced? What if I told you the next coin in this video might have been struck on a foreign planchet and could be worth even more than a brand new car? Stay tuned, things are about to get even crazier. And finally, we're closing this shocking lineup with another 1943 S Steel Wheat Penny. But this one's seen better days. We're talking heavy corrosion, missing shine, and severe surface wear. The S mark tells us it came out of the San Francisco Mint, and at first glance, you might think this coin is barely worth a glance. But stick with me, because this particular mint has delivered some jaw-dropping surprises. The San Francisco Mint struck about 191 million steel cents in 1943, slightly fewer than Denver and Philly, but while this might not seem rare at first, condition and unexpected errors make all the difference, and this bad condition coin could still be hiding a secret that collectors are desperate to uncover. Let's be honest, the steel pennies are delicate. The zinc coating that was meant to protect them from rust, it wears off. And once it's gone, the steel underneath turns into a rust magnet. That's exactly what we're seeing here. a coin that looks like it came from the bottom of a shipwreck. But don't be fooled. This is where the story gets wild. Some of the most valuable 1943 S errors were found in coins just like this one. Worn, faded, even damaged. Why? Because it's not about looking perfect. It's about being unique. Now brace yourself. A 1943 S steel penny struck on bronze, yes, bronze again, is one of the rarest coins ever produced in U.S. history. Only a couple are known to exist, and one of them, in less than perfect condition, sold for $504,000. Just imagine, something that looked like an old washer ended up being worth more than a house. Even without a dramatic metal mix-up, the 1943 S is prone to other highly valuable errors, including repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and even die breaks that can cause wild cracks across the coin's surface. These mistakes were never meant to happen, but when they did, they created a coin that collectors now fight over. Here's the real kicker. Even coins in circulated rusty condition, when certified and proven to have a rare error, have fetched prices between $2,000 and $20,000. Yes, even with the rust, and there's something raw and emotional about this coin. It feels like a survivor. It's been through the ringer, decades of pocket change, rain, heat, and time, and yet here it is, still sparking curiosity, still whispering secrets of wartime America. Maybe this one won't make headlines, or maybe, just maybe, it's the exact kind of sleeper coin that turns up on an auction site one day and blows everyone away. So don't toss that ugly old 1943 S. Get it checked, have it weighed, look for errors, because if you get lucky, and this turns out to be one of those few bronze-struck miracles, you could be looking at a payday in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and just like that, what looked like the worst coin of the bunch could end up being the greatest find of your life.